Welcome back to Flashpoint. Rising sea levels threatening the coast of the Carolinas, and now researchers are working to help tackle the growing crisis. Joining us now is Kathie Dello. She's the director of the North Carolina Climate Office. Kathie, thanks for coming on and talking to us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us, here in the Carolinas, how specifically in tangible ways are we seeing climate change play out?
Well, we can break it down into just three easy things: hotter, wetter, and more humid. So we're seeing more extreme heat, especially at nighttime across the Carolinas. We're seeing more intense rainfall. So those days with 3, 4, 5 inches of rain are increasing. We're seeing sea level rise on our coast. So flooding on our coastline, and also it's more humid. So those hot days just feel that much hotter.
Wow. I asked for tangible, and you gave me tangible ways. Exactly. So how are rising temperatures affecting cities like Charlotte? I mean, we often forget that stronger storms lead to problems all across any city, including storm drains and flooding. How do we see it at an urban level, whether it's Raleigh or, say, Charlotte?
Yeah, so especially in our cities, they're a little bit hotter than our green spaces, our parks, and our countrysides. So when it warms up a little bit more, people in cities can suffer. We have folks who lack access to air conditioning or can't afford to turn it on. We have people who work outside all day and then maybe come home and don't have any relief. And from the agricultural perspective, crops need cool temperatures too. They're like us humans. And if they don't have those cool overnight temperatures to develop, then we can see lessened yield. So we're seeing that across the Carolinas.
And let's take it out to the coastline, something that we all treasure and appreciate living here in the Carolinas. How is climate change affecting our coastline right now?
So we are seeing the ocean rise, and that's something that we can go out and look at and see that the water is coming up in places where it hasn't before. And I know that folks have seen the videos online of houses falling into the ocean in the Outer Banks. So the water is creeping up in places where it didn't used to be. And that's because warmer water takes up more space and ice caps are melting. So we're contributing more water to the ocean. But we also have flooding risk on the coast from water coming down from inland. So if we're getting more rain, say in the Piedmont, those rivers will get higher, and they kind of have a double whammy sometimes with compound flooding. And then on days where it's not even raining, you'll see sunny day flooding in places like Beaufort, where tidal flooding will just swamp the roads and make it hard for you to get to where you need to be.
How optimistic are you that we can turn the tide, no pun intended, when it comes to, say, the Outer Banks? I mean, you're seeing there on a yearly basis an erosion of the coastline. How optimistic are you that we as a society can sort of turn this in another direction?
Well, I'm optimistic that people protect what they love. And we love North Carolina for a number of reasons. We have this really beautiful coastline in the Outer Banks, we have the mountains, and we have the cities that we like living in. And it will take some changes. We are going to have to live a little bit differently, and we're going to have to deal with the fact that for the next few decades, we are going to continue to warm, that we are going to continue to have intense rainfall, and the seas will continue to rise. So we have to think about resilience, and we have to think about some of our neighbors who are among the poorest in North Carolina who may not be able to adapt as quickly. But I don't think we'll need to be able, I don't think we'll have to retreat from these places. We can learn to live with the environment, but we're going to have to be creative, and we're going to have to help each other out.
You brought up an important point that really applies across the country and across the world, is that people often, it's a luxury not to worry about climate change, but the fact of the matter is it's the most vulnerable populations that will be the ones first faced with this, because if you have wealth, if you have any sort of resources, if you have any sort of means, you can choose other options. It's those people who don't that end up getting hit with this face first.
Yeah, and we see this with hurricane evacuations. People get really frustrated when people can't evacuate, but it's costly to evacuate. You don't know how long you'll be gone from home. You don't know how long you'll be gone from your job. You may not have the means to stay in a hotel and for gasoline and for losing food and supplies at home. So it certainly is a problem that affects our poorest communities, our low-income communities the hardest.
Let's talk about the skeptics out there. I know this is science, and science is science, but there are skeptics out there sometimes. For folks who might not believe in climate change or just don't think it's that big of an issue, what do you say?
So the actual percentage of people who flat out deny that this is happening is quite small. There are studies from Yale that show that it's about 9% of the American population. So we've got 91% who have some degree of understanding. Either they think that it's absolutely terrible or want to learn a little bit more about it. So I'm always happy to chat with the people who want to learn a little bit more about it. Most people aren't thinking about climate change all the time. I am. It's my job, but we have other concerns getting food on the table. Certainly, we've had a pandemic. People are thinking about lots of other problems, and climate is one more thing. I will say that in the past few years in North Carolina, folks can point to places that have flooded that didn't previously flood or feel these warmer overnight temperatures and are starting to make the connection that this is climate change.
And for the folks at home watching this, and they want to help out, and they want to be more involved, and they want to be better global citizens, what's one thing that we all can be doing better to help out our environment?
One thing is really easy. You can talk about it. You can talk about climate to people that love you and that trust you. So not everybody is going to talk to me and not everybody knows me, but your friends and families and neighbors know you. You can talk to them about your concerns, but you can also talk to them about solutions. And I'll also say that getting involved at the local level is really crucial and really important. We tend to think big about this big problem, but really getting involved in your community, making local scale changes, getting involved in your planning boards and your transportation boards can really, really help out with climate change.
Because you touched on this, but I think this is the message is that, for some people, climate change is this pie in the sky idea that scientists talk about. But in your mind, climate change is really personal for all of us.
It is. It's happening here in North Carolina. It's happening here in our backyard. And I rarely talk about the entire globe because we're concerned about our friends, our neighbors, and our families. So thinking about what it means for us in Raleigh and Charlotte and across the entire state, but also thinking about the next generations and leaving the planet better for them than we found it.
All right. Kathie Dello, climatologist. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us on this Earth Day weekend and making us a little more informed about our Earth. Thank you, Kathie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, take
Bye.
care. More Flashpoint after this.